Hi, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll show you different ways to check Python versions. This video should be simple enough for those who just started using Python to follow. While this video covers the most common ways to check Python version, it doesn't cover all the methods and tools you can use to check your Python version. If you know additional means to check it, please leave a comment in the comment section below. This is a rundown of contents. First off, I'll briefly explain some technical terms used in this video. Then, I'll tell you why the environment you're in is crucial to which way you'll use to check your Python version. After identifying the method, you'll have to learn basic commands you'll have to type to find your Python version. In the last session of this video, I'll demonstrate how to use those methods. Okay, let's jump into the first session, terminology. We should start by understanding what Python is. Python is a general-purpose programming language. Someone or a bunch of computer geeks created a programming language for us to instruct computers to do something for us. Python is one of the most popular high-level programming language that can be used in different types of applications. This means that it's close to human languages and very human-readable. Different versions of Python will determine the syntax, functions, methods, and libraries you can use. So, knowing how to check your Python version is essential to your development. Next term is operating system, or OS in short. What is OS? It is software that manages computer hardware and software resources and provides common services for computer programs. OS is quite difficult for non-technical persons to understand. But we're using OS even if some of us don't know what it is. Some common operating systems are Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Windows is the most common OS on personal computers used by the general public, Mac OS is used by high-end users, and Linux is usually used by developers as it requires more technical knowledge to use and install stuff, and so it isn't as user-friendly as Windows. In today's computers, we interact with computers using Graphical User Interface, GUI. It's more user-friendly to use. But before the arrival of GUI, people used Command Line Interface, or CLI, to interact with computers. As we're now used to the simpler version of interface, many of us may not even know what CLI is. Simply put, it's a command line program that accepts text input to execute operating system functions. Common CLIs are Command Prompt and PowerShell in Windows computers, Terminal in Mac OS computers, and Bash in Linux computers. This computer jargon should be sufficient. But before we learn the basic commands, we have to identify what environment we're using. Otherwise, some commands may not work as we expected. First off, you have to decide whether you want to check Python version within Python code. Say, you might want to run some code after checking the right Python version. That is, you'll use Python code to check Python version. If you don't have to output Python version within your scripts, then you can check it using a CLI that sits on your computer. If you're using Windows, open a Command Prompt or PowerShell application. If you're using Mac OS, open Terminal. If you're using Linux, open a Bash application. Now, which commands to use? For all operating systems, you can type the following command into your CLI. If you need to know Python version inside your Python scripts, you can use sys or platform libraries. Choose either one of the following two lines and type them in your Python scripts. It might be simpler if I show you how to do that. First, there's a very simple way to check this. You can simply open the application called IDLE shell that comes when you install Python. When you open it, the first line will tell you which Python version it is. But if you have more than one IDLE shells and aren't sure which one is the default version, then you can use one of the following ways to check it. Open a text editor and type the code shown on the screen. Then, save the file with .py extension. Now, open a CLI and run the Python file. Here, I'll demonstrate how to run it in Command Prompt. As mentioned before, you can simply ask your computer what Python version you're using. To do this, open a CLI, which is an application that allows you to talk to your computer, and then type Python -- version. For most users, it's very likely that you own a Windows personal computer. So, you can use Command Prompt. Personally, I prefer the open source version of PowerShell. It allows both Windows and Linux commands. Let me show you how to use it. Open up the latest version of your PowerShell, then type Python -- version. Just something extra, you can also call up your Python and check your Python version with Python code in case you don't know which CLI command to use to check it. First, type Python to call Python in your CLI. Similar to what we did before, use sys.version to print out the Python version. Some of you might have noticed that when you call up Python in CLI, it's already giving you basic Python version info, just like when we open IDLE shell. That's it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my GitHub repos and gists. If it's helpful to you, please like the video. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay nerdy.